Hello and welcome to Nirmal Bang, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Hiral Dadia. We have with us Teresa John, economist at Nirmal Bang, joining in. Welcome to the show, Teresa. The first question is: you have the RBI monetary policy meet, which is on Thursday. Now, 4th to the 6th. If you see what happened in the earlier meetings in 2020 as well, overall, the kind of rate cut that we've seen, they've slashed policy repo rate by 75 basis points and from earlier almost 5.15%. The repo, apart from that, if you see the reverse repo as well, clearly we've seen a downtake taking into consideration what's happened with the pandemic. However, now inflation is something which does become a concern. Taking the scenario into consideration, what is your expectation with regards to what the RBI could be doing in the current one?
Yeah, thank you, Hiral. Given the current circumstances, obviously, growth is a concern. We think the RBI will maintain its easing bias. That said, inflation has been above 6% for the last 2 quarters. And right now, in India, we have an inflation targeting regime formally since 2016. And under the inflation targeting regime, so the RBI has an agreement with the government that they will keep inflation, in the range of 2 to 6%. And if it is below above 6% for consecutively 3 quarters, then the RBI will have to give an explanation statement to the government. So, given the current circumstances, yes, as I said earlier, it is a concern, but with inflation being 6% for 2 quarters already, I think the RBI will take a cautious stance and make the rates on hold at least for this meeting. And once they see the trajectory of inflation coming down over the next few months, I think they will continue to cut rates. We are expecting another 50 basis point of rate cuts by the end of 2020, but possibly a pause at this meeting.
Right. So overall, right now, if you go to see, it's 115 basis points cut that has happened to 4%, and this is a historic low. The reverse repo, 155 basis point cut to 3.35%. Additionally, just to recap, the cash reserve ratio has been reduced by 1% to almost 3%. Various, additional initiatives have also been announced to ensure that more than adequate banking system and funding liquidity is available. Now, with all of this, yes, the results are encouraging. The market liquidity conditions have been increasing, and interest rate transmission in the market through the banking channel is a very mixed reaction that we've seen right now on that front. Now, do you think even if the RBI has some room to cut interest rates further, but they will still take a pause, taking into consideration that the full transmission into the system has not yet happened?
Yeah, so actually, transmission, if you look at it, has been improving over the past few months. So, our view is that, see, the main reason why transmission has not happened is because, till a few months ago, your deposit growth, was actually lagging credit growth for a long time. And so that was actually an impediment to transmission happening in the system. Now that has changed. So your deposit growth is now around 10% and your credit growth is in the range of 5.8 to 6%, which week you look at it, and the credit to deposit ratio is now below 75%. So typically, as far as our analysis goes, what we see is that transmission begins to improve once your credit to deposit ratio comes down below 75%. And to that extent, transmission has started improving. Yes. So today, if you look at it, the weighted average deposit rate is around 6%, and your lending rate, if you look at your MCLR, the median MCLR, it's around 7.6%. There is still more room to go in terms of transmission, but it definitely has started improving, and I think it will improve going ahead as well. Given the current circumstances, there is some amount of risk aversion by banks, because slowing growth, you might see higher NPA. So that is, a concern, but I think transmission should continue to improve going ahead.
Right. But with this, if you talk about what the MPC will be doing, now there are a couple of things that we are looking at. Growth has nosedived. You have inflation, which has picked up as well. If you talk about the consumer price inflation, that has crossed the MPC's threshold ceiling of 6% in the month of June 2020. Now, do you think right now the pickup in inflation, do you think that's something which could be transitionary, or do you think it has the potential to become generalized?
So right now, if you see, there are a few key factors driving inflation. So one is food prices were going up even before the pandemic, and then you started like seeing some softening coming in by February, and then in March, this COVID situation kind of precipitated. So then you had the supply bottlenecks coming into play, and now that is easing. So inflation, I think, should ease going ahead. I mean, you've had a good monsoon so far, at least, and the outlook looks good in terms of the kharif sowing. You supply bottlenecks are easing, so some of the sharp spikes that you saw in food inflation, I think that should ease. But that said, between 2014 to maybe early part of 2019, food inflation was very benign. You're probably not going to to that level inflation because the government also is trying to boost farmer income. So that means you need to keep food inflation at a reasonable level. But that's it. I think from the current spike, you should see food inflation easing. The other part that over the last 2 months, we've seen is core inflation going up to around 5%. Part of that has been driven actually by the government to increase in the taxes, mainly on petroleum products. States have increased petroleum as well as on alcohol related products. So a part of it is government driven. I mean, both at the center and the state level. But I think once the revenue start to pick up, you might see some easing of the tax rates on alcohol and petroleum that you saw over the last couple of months. That would also keep help in bringing down core inflation. On the general household inflation, I mean, if you see food and the tax related core inflation, it is still relatively benign, except maybe in education and health.
Okay. So overall, right now, if you see, if the inflation starts easing from here on, then is there a possibility that you could see further rate cuts by the end of the year?
Yes, definitely. So, as I said, we are already factoring in another 50 basis point rate cut by the end of 2020. That's at least by December of 2020. And most of that is driven by inflation actually coming off very substantially, by November, December. And even going ahead, at least for the 6 months of 2021, base effects, and as I said, food inflation coming off, and core inflation being relatively benign, except for these tax related increases to services related sectors. We are seeing inflation, and if you see real interest rates based on the current rate, so you're having a 6% inflation and the current repo rate at 4%, you're looking at a negative real interest rate. But if you look at it from the perspective of 1 year ahead inflation, what usually central banks will look at, because monetary policy has to be forward looking. From that perspective, real interest rates are still in positive territory relative to the repo rate. So definitely there is room for some more easing, but I mean the RBI will wait for at least we believe for how the data is actually panning out before, because they've already cut quite substantially. So from the peak of the cycle at 6.5%, we are down 250 basis points. So including the pre-COVID cuts and the cuts in the recent months.
Okay. So overall, right now, Teresa, if you go to see, we've spoken of what the inflation could look like. We've spoken of what the rate cut, could be expected in terms of 2020 as a year. Anything else we should be watching out for in terms of a highlight from the RBI policy?
Yeah, definitely. I think something that everyone will be looking for is the RBI's, I mean, what they say with regard to the moratorium, which is supposed to end by the end of August. So will they extend the moratorium, or will it be more of a sectoral extension of the moratorium or a one-time restructuring? So I think that is something that everyone will be watching out for. It has an impact on individuals as well as banks and corporations. So that is one thing that we will look out for. The RBI has so far not given any growth forecast as such. They said growth will be in negative territory. So we will be watching if they give out a growth forecast in this policy. The third thing I think that will be important to look for is so the RBI's MPC has 6 members. 3 of them are external members who were appointed in August 2016 for a 4-year term, and that term will come to an end next month by September. What will the RBI say? The news report suggests that a search committee has been set up under the Economic Affairs Secretary. So when will the new external members come in, or will the term of the current 3 members be extended? So I think that is the other thing to watch out for, because the views of the members clearly matter, as far as monetary policy setting is concerned in the country.
Right. And Teresa, overall, anything that you expect the RBI to announce, especially with regards to where the bond markets are concerned?
No, so I am not expecting major announcement as far as the bond market is concerned, at least in this policy. They have done a couple of LTROs, but to a large extent, the bond yields, even the corporate bond yields, have actually eased over the last month or two. The other thing that people will watch out for is whether they make an announcement on direct monetization or liquidity support in terms of OMOs. Generally in the first half of the year, the liquidity situation is quite comfortable, and credit growth is low. So a lot of banks are parking their money in G-Secs. So far, I think from April and May, at every auction, every weekly debt market auction, the RBI has been exercising its green shoe option, which means that if they are auctioning around 15,000 crores, they have an option to increase it to 17 or 19,000 crores. So the actual issue is higher than what is originally announced. So to that extent, RBI probably will not see it appropriate to come in and make an announcement on direct monetization or even OMOs given the liquidity situation. I think they will make a commitment that we will do whatever it takes, to keep the markets functioning smoothly. But I think any announcement of OMOs will probably come only the second half of the year. So I am not expecting any policy on that front.
Right. And overall, with regards to where the issue of financial stability goes, Teresa, it has been an unsettled issue always right now. And this is ever since the global financial crisis. Do you think that's something which could be put up on discussion in this current meet as well, taking into consideration the current situation of the economy?
Yeah, so definitely the governor has been highlighting the importance of financial stability in his various speeches over the last, at least over the last 1 month. And one thing that they have been talking about is actually banks going and shoring up their capital to preserve against, potential crises that keep occurring in the economy. So over the last decade, we've seen, more than one crisis. So, and they feel that the frequency of this crisis is increasing. So from a financial stability perspective, yes, they will be looking at the NPA situation, but we will not have much clarity now because we'll be, in a moratorium. So how exactly the RBI has given some estimates in the financial stability report. In the worst case scenario, they're looking at GNPAs going up to 14% by March 2021. But also, I think they will kind of on the fact that banks need to shore up against potential NPAs that might arise in the future.
Right. So I think it's going to be an interesting meet that everyone will be watching out for. In fact, the markets have also been pretty much on the tenterhooks right now. So let's see how the currency moves, how the bond markets move, and whether the RBI is still ready for another rate cut right now, or says that let's pause right now and then look at growth from the next one. Thank you, Teresa, for joining in. And it was a pleasure speaking to you. We will come back to you once the policy is announced to discuss further. Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.